Hey everyone, Blaze here. Welcome back to what is, I guess, now the 2018/2019 collection, anime collection overview. So this is going to be the next section. We're going to be taking a look at the Leijiverse section. But just quickly, one extra addition that I've made since the last video. I got the second half of Samurai Flamenco. I still haven't watched the show, but this was on sale over the Christmas period and was an absolute steal, so I basically got both volumes for like, I don't know, about £12 in total in the end. But yeah, next up we're going to be taking a look at the Leijiverse section, but one thing I'm changing for these videos is that I'm going to be moving these to this shelf, which is where the Samurai Ninja stuff was. It's just temporarily not here, because this is a shelf that is just way more comfortable to film things at, so for every single collection I'll show you where it is in the collection, or for every single shelf I'll show you where it is in the collection, and then I'll move it to this spare shelf, so for easier filming. So let's get to it. So I've actually reorganized the shelves even more. I've decided that the shelf below the one that I showed a minute ago will be the filming shelf. So, and another thing I've done just before we get going is I've emptied the Yamato art box, which helps everything stand up nice and not going to keep falling over all the time. Yeah, so this is the art box for the Yamato movies over there. I've done an unboxing for this, there'll be a link in the description for it. So, let's get into it. So, we're going to start off obviously with Space Battleship Yamato, then we'll get into the meat of the Leijiverse, like the proper Leijiverse stuff. Yamato is sort of like this weird thing where Leiji Matsumoto worked on it, the original TV series, he provided the character designs, a lot of the story, he did the manga, but he doesn't actually own the rights to Yamato. But he still has used Yamato and referenced Yamato many times throughout his works. But as I said, he doesn't actually own the franchise completely, but it is sort of, in the eyes of many fans, considered part of the Leijiverse, even though the Leijiverse isn't like this giant chronological thing that you can follow. There's way too many plot holes for that, and continuity errors, you can't really do that. But for the most part, you can actually fit Yamato in quite nicely, since it kind of takes place, let's say, 600, 700, 800 years before everything else. So, yeah, so here we have Space Battleship Yamato, the movie. I believe this is just a retelling of the TV series, the original series, which I have seen. I've never seen Star Blazers. I used to own a Star Blazers set. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was at the end of the last collection video, but I sold that over the holiday period. I needed it, needed some money, and that set was out of print and was worth a little bit of money, and I was never going to watch it. I have no interest in watching Star Blazers. I only want to watch the originals. So yeah, these releases here are the only time that Space Battleship Yamato, to my knowledge, has been released uncut in the West, or at least in America and stuff. So yeah, we've got Space Battleship Yamato the movie. Then we've got the movie I have watched, which is Farewell to Space Battleship Yamato in the Name of Love. This is a now not canon, I guess, sequel to the original TV series. Basically, the second TV series retells the story of this film. Obviously, makes it much longer and it expands on it a lot, and also essentially changes the end, because there are character deaths at the end of this and stuff. So yeah, this is no longer considered canon, but I adored this film. I thought it was a fantastic ending to, it was a very Leiji Matsumoto melodramatic ending, like space operatic melodrama ending, but still I really did enjoy this movie a lot. And yeah, it was like a great bookend to the original TV series for me. Obviously, the franchise went on after this, as I said, but I enjoy this film. These DVDs, as I said, they came out in America via Voyager Entertainment, and they were quite surprising that they did come out uncut and all that, but they use really bad masters. Like, these basically look like VHS rips. They're not that great. But anyway, here we come to the stuff I've never seen, because I've never got beyond the Farewell movie. I want to watch Space Battleship Yamato 2 and 3 and all the rest of these movies and stuff. I've just never got around to it. So here we have Space Battleship Yamato: The New Voyage, which I think is a sequel film to the second series, maybe. And then we have Be Forever Yamato, which is potentially a sequel film to the third series. I honestly don't know. I'm honestly just guessing at this point. And then we have Final Yamato, which is sort of the final Yamato thing. Obviously there's been the remake series, and there's also something from the 90s, Yamato 2520 or something, that came out in the 90s. That's set obviously a few hundred years after all this stuff. Yeah, that's never come out on DVD to my knowledge. Okay, so now we're going to get into the meat of the Leijiverse, and we're going to start off with, for me, like the de facto classic Leijiverse franchise and characters and story. I understand that Harlock probably is more famous around the world, and maybe even Leiji Matsumoto prefers his works of Harlock to maybe his others, but I don't know. For me, Battleship 39 was my first taste of the Leijiverse. It's the one that really captured my imagination the most, as you know, most young boys tend to do. I liked trains and stuff, and like this idea of a train flying through space to you know, so you can travel among the stars. It's just really, really captivating. It's just such a wonderful idea. Obviously, it's not actually an original idea as such from Leiji Matsumoto. He kind of ripped on a Night on the Galactic Railroad, that classic story. But yeah, it's just a wonderful, wonderful franchise. So let's get into it. So here I have the first box set and the only box set that Esmore Entertainment put out for Galaxy Express 39, the TV series. This was just such a disaster of a release from beginning to end, from announcement to eventual release. Yeah, basically Esmore Entertainment were like a super budget company. I have no idea if they're still around. They basically did 2 anime series, then went back to whatever the hell they would normally release. They're just like super budget, like, and they just had no real like, they just shouldn't have been anywhere near this. I don't know how Toei Animation let them put this out. Like, I know Toei themselves don't necessarily treat their own properties with the best care, because, you know, they've upscaled this on Blu Ray in Japan, they've upscaled Saint Seiya, they've upscaled Sailor Moon, like the Devilman, like, they just don't tend to treat their properties in the best way they could. But still, Esmore Entertainment, when, you know, they basically what these are the hard subbed web rips from like Crunchyroll and iTunes or whatever on DVD. That's all they are. It's the first 38 of the 110, and these are like a significant downgrade on the video quality that would have been available and is available on the Japanese DVDs. Yeah, it's just really, really, really sad, and the way that Esmore Entertainment basically handled this property, beyond like the freaking absolute bare bones laziest approach ever of putting like hard subbed web rips on DVD. Like, beyond that, like, they knew that was going to be a problem, so they basically, when they were doing like their Facebook campaign for this, they like ended up releasing the worst covers imaginable as mock-ups to try and take people's attention away from the fact that they're releasing a crappy product and a subpar product on the actual disc. So it was like, hey, so I remember they did a mock-up cover. It was like, hey, check out our cover for Galaxy Express 39, and it literally had Metaru, and it was daylight, and there, in the background there was a train that was the 666, not the 999, the 39. It was the 36. I'll see if I can find the cover somewhere, and I'll put it in this video. It was insane. I just remember losing my shit along with a load of other people. It's like, how can you be this incompetent? Truth is, it eventually came out that Esmore Entertainment did that deliberately. They deliberately put out the worst cover imaginable to piss people off in order to basically try and get people distracted. It was an idea of like, we'll put out this terrible cover that we know we can change, we can fix, and look like we're helping, and like, you know, giving the fans what they want, when in the end they're still going to get these crappy freaking hard subs on DVD. But anyway, yeah, Galaxy Express 39 is an absolute wonderful TV series. I adore it, and I'm really, really happy that we're finally going to get it complete, because obviously this came out, barely anyone bought it. I bought it because I'm a diehard fan and just had to have it. And actually, honestly, in the end, beyond the actual video freaking quality and the discs and all that crap, the actual packaging itself is pretty nice. I actually do like it. They ended up using the much nicer logo that Discotek ended up adopting as well at some point, and just overall it's just a actually quite nice looking release in terms of the box set. It's just a shame that what's on the disc is terrible. But Discotheque are obviously coming along. They're going to be releasing the show soon. Probably the first box set should be out sometime this year, and they'll be releasing it across 3 box sets. We're getting the TV specials and everything. It's going to be awesome. It's such a shame Discotheque didn't do it the first time round, because I would have still liked to have gotten DVDs, because Discotheque are doing the Blu-rays, which don't look that good in Japan, although Discotheque have said maybe they'll put out a slightly better quality version on Blu-ray compared to the Japanese one, but I'm not, until I see it, I'm not convinced, but I'll definitely be buying them because I want to own the show in its complete form. And yeah, I won't be missing the opportunity to do that, and the Discotheque covers at least look really nice as well, so yeah. So next we have Galaxy Express 39, the movies. This is the Korean Blu-ray release of the movies that has English subtitle support. I got these from Simply G when she was looking to sell it on. I couldn't pass up the opportunity back then to have these movies on Blu-ray. Discotheque had obviously put them out on DVDs, we'll see in a minute, but, there was no, it wasn't on the horizon for them to be doing a Blu-ray release, but obviously very, very soon, like within, I don't know, like a couple of weeks from when this video goes up, I will have Blu-rays for the first 2 movies, so I probably won't need this set anymore, or I won't need it anymore, so I'll probably be looking to sell it on. But yeah, it's just a really, really nice set of 2 obviously fantastic movies. So let's have a proper talk about them. So here's the first one, released back in, I don't know, 1979 or something, and it runs at about 2 hours. That's actually a little, just over 2 hours. Yeah, this contains English dub and sub. The Korean Blu-rays are subtitle only. I'm definitely more of a fan of the TV series, but this is basically the story in its most condensed form. Like, this film basically is the same story of the TV series. The TV series is 113 episodes. This is just over 2 hours. So yeah, if you're looking to experience Galaxy Express 39, the movies are definitely the most approachable and easy way to go. You get all the same stuff in this, like the same characterizations of the characters, like all the beautiful animation, all the fantastic music. The complete atmosphere and vibe of Galaxy Express 39 lives in the movie just as much as it is in the TV show, so I would certainly recommend giving the movies a try if you haven't. As I said, the Discotheque have put it out on DVD, but very, very soon, like this month, February 2019, they will be releasing this on Blu-ray. They will also be releasing the second movie on Blu-ray, which came out a couple of years later, I think 1981, possibly 1982. Yeah, Adieu Galaxy Express 39, which is a sequel to the original movie, and as such is also a story that is unique to itself, well, at least in terms of the animated stuff. The TV series, as I said, is basically the same story as the movie, so this is completely new stuff. This is heavily influenced by Star Wars, as you can kind of see there. I forget what that dude's name is. It'll probably say it on the back somewhere, maybe. I'm kind of looking. It begins with F. I can't believe it's not going to say it on the back. Doesn't seem to be saying it. I can't quite remember his name, but yeah, so this movie is interesting. The way it starts out is really cool. I actually love the beginning of this film, which I don't know how much detail I want to go into, but it's basically like this big escape sequence from Earth. It's really, really cool. But the rest of the film, I don't know, it's kind of long. I do like it, but I do much prefer the original film. I like this film a lot, but it's not as good as the first one, in my opinion. And let me try and think what else I wanted to mention. Oh, I tell you something I definitely want to mention, and that is the ending theme for this. Much like the first movie, actually, the first movie has a fantastic jaunty like ending theme, which seems completely inappropriate for the actual atmosphere and general vibe of the film, but I love it anyway. The second film also has a similar, well, actually has a different, completely different. I can't even speak properly. The second film's ending theme, like the one that's Sayonara and all that. I absolutely love it. It's one of the most beautiful pieces of music in an anime film. I just adore it. And you've got Metoru standing by the sunset or sunrise, I can't remember. It's super cool. Anyway, yeah, Adieu Galaxy Express 39, absolutely fantastic movie, just not quite as good as the first one. And then we have the sort of the oddball. This is Galaxy Express 39 Eternal Fantasy. This came out 15 years or so after the last film, so I think it was like 1997. It isn't going to say on the back. 1998, apparently, according to the copyright. So yeah, this only runs at 54 minutes, and this one is subtitle only, unlike the first two. Yeah, this actually does have a Blu-ray release in Japan, but Discotek, as of right now, have no plans to release it on Blu-ray, at least they haven't announced any. I really, really hope this doesn't get passed over for Blu-ray release as well, because I would certainly buy it. I actually really like this movie. I know a lot of fans don't. It definitely feels kind of, I don't know, a little bit pointless in many ways. I don't know. I haven't actually read the Galaxy Express manga that Viz put out, but technically that's the Galaxy Express 2 manga that actually came about in the 90s as like a sequel to the original manga, and I'm pretty sure this film is related to that manga. So, yeah. I don't think this film is completely without merit in that regard, you know, given that it's potentially, I haven't 100% done my research, but it's potentially based on the actual Leiji Matsumoto made manga, so yeah. I know, I like this film quite a lot. It's nothing too amazing, although the animation is pretty cool, because obviously it's updated, it's not late 70s, early 80s animation, this is more 90s. There's a sort of slightly cleaner look to it, a slightly more different character designs. I don't know, I appreciate this movie quite a bit. So yeah, that's Eternal Fantasy. Next up we have Galaxy Railways. I should probably mention, actually, I can't remember if I mentioned this earlier, but the way that I've actually sorted this, as you can tell it's not in alphabetical order, is sort of by franchise and then character into franchise. So it's kind of, we've got Galaxy Express, and then Galaxy Railways, which is a spin-off of Galaxy Express. Then we've got Metoru, and then her connection to Emeraldus, and Emeraldus connects into Harlock, and then we got the Harlock franchise, and then we got the Harlock spin-offs. So yeah, that's kind of how I've got this sorted. It's a little bit weird, but it's just how I've got it sorted, and I'm kind of happy with it. So anyway, so next up we have Galaxy Railways, which is one of the many Leiji Matsumoto Leijiverse spin-offs that were made in the early to mid-2000s. They made a bunch of TV series. I have most of them here. Only 2 of them have never been licensed. This is the best one that got licensed. Probably the best one, anyway. So yeah, this one is one of the most of... it's like, this is the most spin-off, almost, of all of them, apart from maybe Super Submarine 99, which I've never seen. But this one... is basically following the SDF, like this space defense force that basically, it's like this sort of like police military thing that protects the Galaxy Railways across the galaxy. So they have to they have to make sure that the trains run on time, they have to go and save the trains if they get into problems, they have to stop terrorists from or pirates from like hijacking the trains or trying to steal stuff from the trains and stuff. And it's just a really good story, and there's a lot of great characters at the center of it, and there's a lot of drama with those characters. It's a really, really good series. I really enjoyed this one a lot. It's like a really great, yeah, it's just like a perfect spin-off, I feel like, of Galaxy Express in many ways. It's not the same as Galaxy Express, but it's set in that same universe, and it makes sense, and it also expands on the idea of the Galaxy Railways in general, and the Galaxy trains and stuff. So it's really, really cool. I highly recommend it. This is a beautiful release, the Viridian Collection version, like the Funimation's long dead, unfortunately, recyclable like packaging releases where they're all like made out of card. It's not the best for the discs, admittedly, but the releases they produced for the Viridian Collection were really nice for a while. Next to that, we've got a relatively recent Discotek release, which is the Galaxy Railways OVA, A Letter from the Abandoned Planet. So this is a 4-episode OVA that brings the Galaxy Express 39, Metoru, and Tetsuro all into the Galaxy Railways story with the Galaxy Railways characters. It's just like the Galaxy Express 39 basically gets into some sort of trouble. I can't quite remember. There's like this really weird like It's just really strange, actually. I can't remember. It's just like this wormhole thing or something, or it's just like a planet that shouldn't be there, or can't honestly quite remember, but I do remember enjoying it. So yeah, a 4 episode OVA. It's a lot of fun, especially if you like. Obviously, if you've seen both Galaxy Express 39 and Galaxy Warriors like I have and enjoyed them both immensely, this OVA is a really good fun crossover. So okay, so next up we have Meteru Legend. This is a 90s OVA. It's 2 episode OVA. Each one runs at about 40 minutes. I have only seen this once, but I remember really liking it, but also being quite creeped out by a certain aspect of it, which I'll get into. But yeah, this basically tells the story of Meteru as I think she's just a teenager, back on her home planet. In this version, Emeraldus is her twin sister. And basically this tells the story of this guy. It's like a different origin for Meteru's home planet. It tells the story of this guy that is basically convinced Meteru's mother, who's like the queen of her planet, in order to start taking on all these like mechanizations and basically mechanizing the entire world, and that includes people after a while. And this gets into the creepy part. You know how in Leiji Matsumoto stuff, like they have like these dials and stuff, like these circle dials, like they're very like generic looking 1970s like looking sci-fi stuff. It's like, here we'll just have a bunch of dials with like fancy lights on them. Well, basically in this, people start having those things appearing on their skin, and there's like real depth to them. It's really creepy. I'll have to get some screenshots and put it up in the video here. It's super creepy looking. It just, I don't know, it kind of just made me feel the but overall, this OVA is pretty interesting. It's not too amazing. The dub is sort of strange because Lisa Ortiz, who I love, but Lisa Ortiz plays Meteru, which is like one of the least appropriate casting choices I can imagine. Because if you don't, Lisa Ortiz is the voice of Lena Inverse. Lena Inverse and Meteru are not the same type of person at all. I get that this is a young Meteru, but still, it's just not. Lena Inverse, yeah, doesn't go with Meteru. Lisa Ortiz doesn't go with Meteru. But anyway, yeah, I enjoy this OVA. This is kind of hard to find now. It'd be kind of nice. I think there's like 2 releases, maybe, and both of them are quite expensive. It'd be nice if this got a re-release at some point. But yeah, I enjoy this OVA. We follow that up then with this is the UK version that came out in America as well. But yeah, this is Queen Emeraldus. This is the 2 episodes. This is actually a 4 episode OVA that came out in the late 90s. It's telling the story of Emeraldus and her. I don't know how much I should really go into it. She's had a great loss, and it's basically her story of trying to find out what happened and recover from that, and just basically Emeraldus side stories as well. Like I say, it's 4 episodes, each one's about half an hour each. For some reason back in the day, ADV Films licensed and dubbed the first 2 episodes, and that's it. There's only 4, they only did 2, and that's all we've ever had to this day. You can watch the other 2 episodes fan subbed, as I've obviously done, but yeah, the only way to own any of it is to own either the VHS release or the DVD release, which again only has 2 episodes. I don't understand, like ADV at the height of their powers when they were licensing and releasing just about everything under the sun, why they decided to not go back to Japan, get the final 2 episodes, dub them, and put this out as a complete DVD set is beyond me, but they never did. As a result, this is really high on my discotheque wish list for them to eventually pick this up and put it out on DVD or Blu-ray. You know, Blu-ray would be great. It's not out on Blu-ray in Japan or anything, but a Blu-ray would be nice. But because it is cel animated. But yeah, a DVD release with, you know, the dubbed episodes and then the 2 that aren't dubbed as well, just a complete set for once. I like this OVA a lot. The soundtrack is amazing. The opening theme, holy crap! I will put a link to that in the description. Please go and listen to it. It's epic. It's truly epic. But yeah, this is a decent release, but again, it's not complete. It's really only for completionists like me that want all of the Leijiverse. Then yeah, this is something is required purchase. But yeah, unfortunately, it's not complete. Okay. I think this was Discotheque's second foray into Leijiverse stuff. They started off with the first two Galaxy Express movies, maybe the third one as well, although I know this came out a little bit later. Wow, that's really dark. But yeah, eventually they just did the most amazing thing and gave us the complete 42 episodes of the 1978 Captain Harlock series. So yeah, we've moved from Emeraldus, and Emeraldus is very much the key between, like, the key connection between the Galaxy Express stuff and the Harlock stuff. The most, in my opinion. Harlock is also, but for me, Emeraldus is more key. So yeah. We move into Captain Harlock, obviously, in this 1978 series. I love this series. It's just a classic show. This is, in my opinion, probably the best Harlock series. There's certainly Endless Odyssey, which we'll talk about later, is also really good, and obviously Arcadia of My Youth is good as well, but I really enjoy this. This is the classic story. It's got the classic versions of the characters. It's got my beloved Mimi in her classic style and personality and stuff, which Arcadia of My Youth doesn't have. So yeah, this is my Harlock. I think this is the story that's in the original manga, as opposed to most of the other stories we get. So yeah, this is the de facto Harlock if you want to experience it, in my opinion. And it's a really great series. As I say, classic 42 episode Toei animated series from 1978. Love the music, love all the characters, love the animation, and the story of, like, the Mazome versus Harlock and the idiots back on Earth who just aren't aware of their impending doom, and Harlock saving them all, and it's just great stuff. It really is. I adore it, and I love the fact that I have it in a nice, compact, complete DVD release from Discotek. I really hope Toei Toei in Japan will put this out on Blu Ray at some point in proper HD. I feel like this is one title where they could definitely justify it, the extra, finance to put in a proper HD release of this, although I feel like they should do it for everything anyway. But in this case, given the popularity of this franchise around the world, it would seem stupid to put it out as just an SD upscale. But they did the same for Saint Seiya, so which is arguably even more popular, so around the world. So anyway, so next to that we have the 1982 Arcadia of My Youth on DVD. This is the original Anime Go DVD. I believe it's sub only. Yeah, this would be sub only because we'll get into it in a minute. But yeah, sub only. I bought this brand new a few years ago. I did like an unboxing for it. This was long before Discotek announced their version, and obviously its value has plummeted over time. It was quite expensive when I bought it because it was long out of print, and I even managed to get a brand new copy, so it was a little bit more expensive. But yeah, I've kept it in the collection just as, why not? It's not going to be, I don't really want to sell it for way less than what I bought it for, so I've decided to keep it. So, yes, Discotek eventually announced they were doing a Blu-ray, and here it is. Beautiful Blu-ray, beautiful transfer. This has all the film grain intact, which, by the way, obviously the oh, my brain's completely frozen. The Korean Blu-rays, which are based on the Japanese ones, don't have the film grain. They're like DNR, they're smeary, they're in proper HD, but they're all smeary and without the film grain, which is disappointing. But apparently the upcoming Discotek Blu-rays should have the film grain intact, so far as I'm aware. I will report on that once I pick them up. But yeah, Arcadia of My Youth had like a proper transfer, and this is a great movie. I really enjoy it. It's basically the origin of Harlock and the Harlock legacy, if you will, and the Arcadia beginnings and all that stuff. It's really cool, like the legacy of his friendship with Totoro throughout the ages and stuff. Like, it's a really good film, and this contains like a weird like Hong Kong, Asian dub, which is English dub, which is interesting. It's not actually that bad, apart from Harlock, who sounds awful, but it's actually not too terrible. But yeah, this is just a classic movie. This comes with a commentary by Mike Toole, which is really good. I really wish that he got to do commentaries for Galaxy Express movies that are coming out, but he hasn't, unfortunately. Really sad about that, but I'm happy I at least have the commentary on here. It's a really good listen. So yeah, great release from Discotek. And then we also, of course, have Arcadia of My Youth, Endless Orbit SSX. This is the 22, I believe, maybe 23, 22. I think it's because it came out in 1983 that sometimes I get confused if it's 2 or 3. But yeah, 22 episodes, TV series that is a direct sequel of, or I'm pretty sure it's a direct sequel. Can't exactly remember, but I'm pretty sure it is, of the film. And yeah, this is a really, really good TV series as well. We get a lot more Totoro in this than we normally do, which is really cool. And the ending is pretty interesting for this. In fact, I think the ending of this, I don't want to go into extreme detail with this, but the ending of this connects with the ending, or like with the character in this as well, I think. I can't exactly remember if that's true or not. I can't exactly remember where, but I know there's a sequence that happens in this that also happens in one of the other films as well, be it the first one or the second one. I can't quite remember. But it might be the first Galaxy Express film, actually. But anyway, yeah, this is a really, really cool TV series. I really like it. So we get more Totoro, more Emeraldus, more Harlock, and yeah, the only thing I don't like about this is Mimi has the redesigned version that she had in the film as well. She's just a completely different character. She's basically just a Metaru robot, basically. There's nothing interesting about her at all. She's just a traditional Leiji Matsumoto blonde woman, and with, yeah, she's just nowhere near as fun as she is in the original series. But yeah, I like this TV series, but maybe not quite as much as the original series. Okay, so following on, we have a 90s OVA series called Harlock Saga. This got like multiple releases from Central Park Media. They're all the same on the disc, but they all had different covers. I chose this one because it has like a nice cast shot of everyone that's in this. So it's basically a six episode OVA based on, it's kind of interesting, this is based on that famous German opera like Die Ring Nibelungen. I can't quite remember how to say that, and I bet it doesn't say it on the back, because why would you? I mean, that is what it's based on, but it doesn't seem to say it. But anyway, yeah, this has got like Valhalla in it and all sorts, like the Valkyries, and it's pretty cool. It's interesting. It's a really interesting idea, and I really, really like this a lot. It takes space opera into its most literal sense for the Leijiverse in this case, and yeah, I like it. It's cool. I really would like to rewatch it. I've only ever seen it once. I'm pretty sure it's only once I've seen this. I'd definitely like to watch it again. It's been a long time. I might actually try and do that this year. I'm watching 90s stuff, so it'd actually be a good excuse to do that. In fact, I'm going to take this off the shelf right now, and I'm going to lay it down to the Magic Knight next to Magic Knight Ray Earth, which I'm currently watching, and I might actually watch that next. A nice quick 6 episodes before I jump into something else. So let's move this along. Okay. But yeah, Harlock Saga, really, really cool. Okay, so next up we have the 2003, I believe, can't 100% sure, Captain Harlock Endless Odyssey. This is the Australian release. This came out in America across like 4 volumes in a giant art box, and that's the only way to get it. And even though I love the Leijiverse and wouldn't necessarily have minded having the art box, at the time I just didn't have the money, and I saw this release and I was like, oh, that's nice and compact, I'll get that version. And I'm pretty sure it uses the NTSC video, so there's no PAL speed up or anything I have to worry about. So yeah, Captain Harlock, the Endless Odyssey. The Harlock thing, I can't remember exactly what that's about. I think it's like some weird licensing thing that was going on at the time. I don't know, but basically this is a 13 episode OVA series which was heavily delayed at the time, but eventually came out. This is actually really good. This is another one of the spin-off sort of series, like the lots of Leijiverse series, as I mentioned, came out in the early 2000s. This is one of them. This is probably one of the best ones as well. I still think Galaxy Warrior is slightly better, but I do like this one. It's much more classic. Mimi is in a classic style. Like it's much more akin to the original series as opposed to Arcadia of My Youth, and for that I enjoy it. It's a really cool series. I know a lot of people would actually herald this as their favourite Harlock series. I do prefer the classic, but this is probably it'd be my joint favorite with like second favorite with like Arcadia of My Youth. Like I can't really pick. I love them all really. So yeah, Captain Harlock and this Odyssey is recommended. It's only 13 episodes. It's not necessarily what I'd recommend people to start, but if you're looking for something a bit shorter, this is definitely probably the best place to start if you only want to commit less time than 42 episodes, and if you're more used to modern animation and style and stuff, this is probably the best one to go with. Okay, next to that we have Harlock Space Pirate, Blu-ray Steelbook, and then we also have Harlock Space Pirate, Blu-ray 3D and normal from Twilight Time. So yeah, this is the 2013 CG film that Toei Animation did. They for a little while, I think they actually only ever did two. They did these like really like high budget CG adaptations of like some of their more classic franchises. They did Harlock and Saint Seiya. I think that's all they did. This film is pretty cool. It's not a great version of Harlock per se, but there's lots of things I do actually like about this. I really do like seeing CG animation from Japan because they tend to do more mature stuff. CG animation in the West is pretty much exclusively in the Pixar, DreamWorks, family-friendly style. While in Japan, they tend to do slightly more mature things with it, like Appleseed and like this film, Harlock, and like some of the Final Fantasy stuff they've done and things like that. It's always just slightly more aimed at appeasing more mature audiences, and this film is like that too. And this film is just pretty bombastic when it comes to the animation and the CG. Like, it's a very good looking film. I also do actually like the redesign they did for Mimi in this, where she's basically like this alien elf looking thing. She looks super cool, and it's actually the same design they ended up adopting for the Dimensional Voyage manga as well, which I actually don't mind at all. I think it looks, like I said, I think it's probably her best design, but I prefer her personality in the original. It's just fun, but it's probably her best design of the lot is the one she has in this. Anyway, if you want to own this film, this is the edition to get, because this includes the Japanese version on Blu-ray uncut. The original release I had in the Steelbook from the UK, the only version on Blu-ray in HD is the dubbed version, which is an edited international cut. It changes a lot of the characters' names and stuff. It's just a really dumb thing that is a relic of old man thinking, basically. But this version has everything as it should be, and the dub version as well, and it's also in 3D as well, which is kind of cool, I guess. So yeah, Harlock, I'd recommend it. I would have loved to have seen a Galaxy Express 39 film done like this, because yeah, as I said, the animation is just incredible. And there's a part in this when like the Arcadia is smashing through enemy lines in space, like smashing through ships and stuff, and it just looks amazing, and the music in that moment is amazing, and the sound effects, it's just like, holy crap, this is pretty cool. Yeah, if you like, again, it doesn't ruin the rest of it for me. Like, just having that is just a cool thing to have, I guess. It's just like, hey, here's Harlock in CG, and it's all like super detailed, but story does kind of suck. The story reminds me of something Square Enix would write or something. It's like stupid. Anyway, next up we have Gun Frontier. This is yet another early 2000s spin-off series. This is based on a manga that Leiji Matsumoto made back in the 70s that gives us a story of basically the Harlock and Totoro legend. This is the version of Harlock and Totoro in the Old West, kinda. It's kind of like, you know how in Galaxy Express 39 TV series, if you've seen it, there's a lot of episodes where they're on planets that are basically like the Old West, like these desert, sort of barren planets. So this is kind of what this is, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this doesn't take place on Earth. I can't quite remember that, honestly, but anyway. I like this series. It's a lot of fun. This is the original Media Blasters release. Discotek have also done a re-release of this one as well, but I kept this edition since it's pretty compact anyway, and it comes on 4 discs, which I'm pretty sure the Discotek version only comes on 2. So yeah, slightly better bitrate, I would presume anyway. Yeah, the Gun Frontier Gun Pack. I like this show. I like the opening and endings quite a lot. It's just a fun, it's a fun spin-off. It's just a fun idea. These characters totally feel at home in the Leijiverse, sorry, in the West. So it just kind of works. And melodrama and things. It does all like properly blend nicely. So yeah, that's Gun Frontier. Okay, and the final Leijiverse TV series I have in the collection is Cosmo Warrior Zero. It's kind of weird this has Harlock on the cover. This is the Discotheque re-release, but there's actually more in this set that I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, this is Discotheque re-release. This isn't really about Harlock. This is about... Let me take off the slipcover. Come on, slip. Trying to do this with one hand is not easy. Slipcover's on the floor. I have to be careful. Okay, this is more about this character here, who is the captain of this ship. And this is basically more in line with Galaxy Railways, like he works for like the SDF, I'm pretty sure. Or the Earth Federation. Okay, he works for the Earth Federation. And he's got a really stupid name. Warriors Zero. Going to see it there. He's a disgraced captain. He lost all hope along with his family in the war against the Machine Men. But now... His opponent is Captain Harlock, a space pirate who has refused to surrender to the Machine Men. But this one, I'm pretty sure the Machine Men have to work with the captain here on this ship. So it's basically like a racial tension sort of story, where you got like the Machine Men and all the humans having to work together on this ship for the first time, and like them coming to accept each other in through many hardships and stuff. It's a pretty good series. It's not too amazing. It's got like Meta in it at some point as well. Like I said, Harlock's in it. Crispin Freeman plays the main character, and Harlock is played by Stephen J. Bloom in this, so it's got a pretty good cast for the dub. There's also a 2-episode OVA towards the end, which I'm pretty sure has like the caricature version of Leiji Matsumoto in it, which is kind of cool. But as I say, this is a Discotheque re-release. It has, on the inside, if I can pop it out. Okay, so the Discotheque version came on 2 discs for 15 episodes, which is pretty not great in my opinion. So I had the original Media Blasters release across 4 volumes, so I bought a new case, and I've put in the Media Blasters releases as well, which come across 4 discs. There's also an extra special that isn't on the Discotheque release that's included in the Media Blasters version, although the special is basically just like a recap. There's no new extra animation in it or anything, but it's not on the Discotheque version, but it is on the Media Blasters version. So yeah, with this new case, I've basically got the complete version, and it takes up way less space on the shelf, because the original Media Blasters release was like 3 DVDs thick. It's like the most stupid collected edition ever. I was like, hey, here, save space by buying this 4-volume set in a 3 DVD wide set. That's just dumb. Anyway, my voice is slowly beginning to die. Next up, we've got something that I've still not watched atrociously. I mean, I have watched this. Like, this is the Leiji Matsumoto Daft Punk collaboration. He basically did an animated musical based on the Daft Punk Discovery album, which I bought back in the day when it first came out and loved, just like everybody else. Daft Punk were amazing back then, and still are, I guess. But yeah, I love that album. I remember watching these music videos on like MTV and stuff like that, and just yeah, it was super cool. But for some reason, I've never watched this film. I mean, like I said, I've seen all the music videos, so I kind of have watched the film, but I've never watched it from beginning to end, as it's intended to be viewed. I would like to do that, so yeah, this is basically, as I said, just a musical. So it's basically the whole Daft Punk Discovery album with animation done by Leiji Matsumoto, telling the story of this band here. And yes, just classic Leiji Matsumoto style. And yeah, I imagine this movie is a lot of fun to watch. I have no idea what it's like on Blu-ray. It might not be that great on Blu-ray. It says like 1080i. It's probably not in HD really. It's probably an upscale, but yeah, that's that. And finally, last, and as I always like to say, not least, we have the Sci-Fi Future 2013 live special drawing of Leiji Matsumoto. This is a DVD that was released in Japan by mail order, basically. I think my friend Rocco Tachi helped me get this, but you can get this on Mandarake and I think Amazon, probably. It's like a print-on-demand sort of release, I guess. It's like region-free and everything. But basically what this is like an hour and a half or 2 hours, I can't quite remember, of a over-the-shoulder cam thing where Leiji Matsumoto was at a convention and he's basically just doing commissions. And you get to see each picture come out. Each picture as he draws them. For each commission in real time. I'm pretty sure it's in real time, or maybe slightly speeded up. Can't quite remember. And basically, while you're watching this, and you can hear like the people talking and stuff quietly, and then there's nice music playing, like Spanish guitar versions of like the Yamato theme and the Galaxy Express theme and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just a really cool thing. Like as someone who really obviously appreciates Leiji Matsumoto and what he's produced over the years, it's kind of cool to see him bring these characters to life on the blank page with just one pen or whatever. And the only downside to this release is that, given that they're commissions, a lot of them are the same characters. It's just people asking for, you know, Harlock or Emeraldus or Metaru over and over and over again. There's a couple of like Yamato ones and a few like Totoro ones, I think, as well. But for the most part, it's the characters that you expect people to ask for commissions for. So yeah, but other than that, it's a really, really nice thing to have. And yeah, it was a good watch. I've watched it a couple of times. It's just really nice. Okay, my voice is officially dead. My mouth is drier than the Sahara, so I'm going to leave it there. That's the Leijiverse section. Yeah, that was a bit of a yeah, a lot of talking. I obviously love the Leijiverse a lot. It's obviously not complete. There are still some Leijiverse titles that have never come out. I'm always looking at Discotek, hoping and praying that they'll release, you know, Queen Millennia or Super Submarine 99, especially, well, maybe that's not necessarily the one I want the most, but it's the one that's the most easily obtainable for them right now, because it's part of Inoki Films, which they've licensed a bunch of stuff from. One thing I'd also really like them to get sooner rather than later is Space Symphony Metaru. It's pretty much, I'm pretty sure it's the, other than the Super Submarine 99, it's the only other early 2000s series that never got licensed, and it's so frustrating because it's actually the best one. I've watched it fan subbed, and most people tend to agree that Space Symphony Metaru is actually the best of those early 2000s series, so it's really surprising that that never came out. There's also a sequel to Galaxy Railways called Galaxy Railways 2, which was also 26 episodes. It came out in like 2007. I've seen that. I didn't actually like that very much. It was nowhere near as good as the first season. It became way more episodic than the first season was, and yeah, the characters just weren't as good, and the story just wasn't as good. So yeah, I would still love to have it on DVD, because I'm a completionist when it comes to Leiji Matsumoto stuff, so I'd still love to have it, but yeah. And also like the second half of the Queen Emeraldus OVA, and there's lots and lots of other stuff, but yeah. I'm Blaze. Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening to me waffle on for God knows how long. Next up, we'll be concentrating on the first part of my seinen action shows, and there's actually like 4 shelves of it. As you can see, that will be a 4-parter. I'll be doing one shelf at a time, not the whole lot, because I would lose my voice before I got to the end. So yeah, I'm Blaze. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.